Hey guys, it's Door and Coach. In today's video, we're going to be breaking down Door Kickers 2. We found this video put up by a guy named Karmacut, and he's quite the gamer. He seems to know what he's doing in regards to playing these types of games. We have never played this game, so we're just going to kind of take a look at the how and the why he went about pulling this off, this mission, this level. I don't know what to call it, but then we're going to go ahead and kind of armchair quarterback him, so to speak, for lack of a better term, and just kind of give you a little insight into what reality might look like in these types of situations. So stay tuned. All right, so before the Geek Fest commences, we'd like to thank today's sponsor, which is Dry Fire Mag. If you guys are living in that striker fire world, you know, having to stop the training sequence, rack the slide, reset the trigger every time, definitely not the deal. PEDS training creates training scars, God forbid. So, you know, we use Dry Fire Mags here at the channel, and they work well. They're adjustable to fine-tune to set to your particular trigger pull, and they just make training that much faster and more efficient. So, yeah, so just check them out in the description below. Well, let's get into it. Door Kickers 2. All right, guys, so, you know, starting off, we're going to be using this Door Kickers 2 video game. This is the second iteration, and it basically gives you a top-down view, something that the decision makers would be seeing on ISR anyway. So it's kind of a cool perspective. Yeah. You know, as we get into the video, you can see starting out, the target is black and white, and that is uncleared space. You don't have eyes on, you don't know what's going on over there. So as the team enters into the target area, you'll start to see color and things pop up, and that is just their field of view. Mm-hmm. You know, so things will pop out of nowhere, it seems like, but really those are just enemies maneuvering in uncleared space that nobody is able to address.
Yes, and honestly, I am not a gamer. Mm-hmm. I have not played this game or pretty much any other video games, but looking at this looks like an ISR feed from you know, in real life. Mm-hmm. So this should be interesting to see how he does this, and maybe we can give him some suggestions on maybe how we would have done it.
Yeah, and I've never played these types of games before either. I do play video games from time to time. I used to play them quite a bit.
Of course you did.
With my my cohorts, you know, but that was more first-person shooters, you know, a lot of verbal abuse and mutilation of the bodies, you know, before the respawn, you know, just, you know, normal stuff, but
normal boyhood stuff these days, huh?
Yeah, but yeah, they're being like super tactical at like a professional level while playing video games didn't really happen. There were instances where we would use actual tactics playing against people that didn't know what they were, but starting off, you know, he gets to select his team, how many guys he wants to bring, and then he goes through like pretty much their entire loadout. Mm-hmm. Of all their equipment. He talks a little bit about the how and the why. So we'll see how this goes.
What's we got?
Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're playing some more Door Kickers 2, which is a game we haven't played in quite some time, but I was kind of feeling like jumping back in just because this game is so unique. It's just such a fun little arcade puzzle game where you can actually apply some raid fundamentals as well as CQB fundamentals, of course within the confines of a video game. Now, today, we're going to be playing a new map that I've not yet experienced called 10 of Clubs, which is a HVT extraction operation, and we're going to be going in and raiding this kind of, I guess you could say, a linear compound west to east here, and that's pretty much going to be the mission that we're playing today. We get 6 troops to deploy, and of course we're playing with our awesome Ranger faction because I'm a Ranger fanboy. And yeah, I guess we can jump straight into it.
So as he says, you know, as he states, it is a video game. There's confines to a video game. You're not going to be able to, you know, you only have this perspective, etc. But he does want to use tactics, you know, realistic tactics as best he can. One thing I thought that was kind of interesting is you know, the game orients the map, so to speak, perfectly. So left is west and top is north and, you know, etc. And that's very important. Cardinal directions, understanding, you know, where, being able to sector off and describe and direct people to different parts of the target area using cardinal directions is not only important for the assault force, but for your supporting assets and leadership. Mm-hmm. And so he already kind of had that figured out. I thought that was, you know, pretty good.
Good to go. Yeah, and then there's 8 slots there, and he says he's going to use 6 guys. So I mean, on a target that size, I'm using all 8.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
If I've got 8 guys. I know how many I'm
that
going to bring.
size with an estimated enemy disposition or whatever you want to call it, of more than one, multiple. You're going to want more dudes. Speed is super important. The longer this takes, the longer you are in harm's way. And he said that this was a Rangers. And the Rangers, God bless them, they roll deep.
Yeah.
Like very deep. Like, I mean, seriously, when's the last time you saw one Ranger?
We had 99 of them that were supporting us.
Yeah, like they don't mess around. And, when they are, direct action force, but they send it and they bring the whole bus.
All right, but we got 8 guys. All right,
Yeah.
he's going to use 6. But
I think. But as soon as we get out of this breach, it's a lot of CQB because a lot of this looks like you'll be able to be controlled from a couple dudes outside on containment, and then we can just roll the rest of the stack through the compound proper. So let's go ahead and get kitted. I think for the ranges and the problem that we're dealing with, we're straight up just going to rock with 6 assaulters, and we're going to be rocking that good old Ranger loadout with the Urgies and Ranger Sappies. So as I mentioned, we're rocking suppressed M4 Urgies with Alcans just because it's just a vibe. Glock 19s as per usual, high cuts, Sappies, and then of course we just double check. So we do have an LPVO on one of these guys. We're just gonna make it so that they're all Alcans, so we don't have any concerns as far as separating equipment and making sure everyone is capable to take the same distance shot, so we don't have any weirdness happening.
okay,
All right, so
URG1 upper. That's just suppressed. Is it fucking? Is it an M4 length or?
Yeah,
we're
so
talking
M4
10-inch?
URG. URG is just some new finagled
The
acronym they're
universal
using
whatever,
so that they can
upper.
charge you 5 times as much money as an M4 is supposed to cost. So from the looks of this, and again, he did say this was Ranger Regiment. These guys have not Ranger Regiment haircuts, but that's okay. Good for them. This basically looks like a 14.5-inch M-Lock free float modern version of the M4A1. And
Internally suppressed is what it's saying, right?
that's
Suppressed.
definitely not internally suppressed. The can just fits on. No, the can is going on additional. That's a fucking
barrel.
That's a birdcage flash hider.
I'd be rolling freaking 10-inch.
Yeah. So
Mark
you got
18, whatever.
a 14.5-inch with unsuppressed is doable because that's about the same length, give or take, a shorty with a can. But now you're putting the can on the 14.5. At least they have the full length rail, so they aren't, trying to do what the poor Marines are doing with their standard M4s or those big Reed Knight cans.
M16A2s.
Yeah, well, they don't have M16s anymore at all.
That's true.
But speaking of the M16, you're throwing a can on a 14.5-inch barrel. You're basically approaching, if not surpassing, M16 length. And for a dedicated DA force running guns that long, not the deal. It's gonna be a little bit more cumbersome and harder to deal with. Doable, definitely doable.
If that's what you've got, that's what you got, you could use this.
But if you knew you were going to send, a squad size element in to conduct clearance against a, formidable foe, I would definitely go with, and we're staying in a 5.56 world here, the 10.5 to 11.5.
Yeah, that'd be where I'd go. And then the next thing, he's putting L counts on everything. Red dots.
Yeah, Negatron.
All you need is a red dot and a light for this one. I mean, you're not going to...
Now, the L cans do have red dots on top, optional.
Optional.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think for the weight, you already got a bigger gun there.
Yeah, but weight's not a factor because it's a video game.
Oh, yeah, it's a video game. Yeah, whatever you got. Carry
to his credit, I mean...
We got one Abrams on your back.
But no, if I could select what guys we're going to be going in with, I would definitely want a shorter barrel. And then, honestly, they're going to use whatever optics they want. They're going to configure them however they want. No one's going to tell them otherwise. But a EOTech or aim point, something along those lines. The L cans are very heavy. They're very cumbersome.
And bring no added benefit
absolutely none.
In CQB, really. Yeah, you're thinking that, this is going to be a semi-permissive environment here. You're going to have blocking forces someplace or, take this down. But that's not addressed in here.
Yeah, and then as far as a secondary, it's a mid to full-size 9mm pistol. They're all the same. Pick one.
Yeah, I put a light on it, but
Definitely, yeah, on both. That is something that we didn't really address is, nods, lasers, and white lights. You're going to have your lasers and white lights on your primary, of course, and then for the same reason you put a white light on a primary, you also put it on the secondary. Because you just have to assume that you're going to have to transition to secondary at some point. So, that being said,
yeah, and he's got a sight selection on there. He's got irons on there. I mean, these days you want to go without irradiating anything. You projecting. You can go with a miniature red dot on there, and then you can still use your pistol on your nods. Mm-hmm. So that's a thing. If you don't want to turn the white light on, you need a miniature red dot on your pistol.
And then have a couple of these guys loaded with slap charges, because honestly, when I think about it, you don't really need too many slap charges when you can kick and open certain doors, or even if you bring mechanical or ballistic options, it kind of negates the need for that many slap charges. But flashbangs are almost always nice to have, right? So we have a ballistic option, a mechanical option, and then a couple slap charges, and then we'll bring, let me see if we need a wall charge. The only place I think we would use a wall charge is down here, so I guess that's warranted. We can keep that, but let's get more bangers, just because there's a lot of rooms, and typically I'm going to want to bang every single threshold, every single danger area before taking it, just to give our guys the maximum level of success, or maximum chance of success. We can actually even roll extra flashbangers on this dude. So a ton of bangers, there's just a ton of rooms here, and on this last guy we can bring extra slap charges, because there are a decent amount of doors, and considering how I don't believe there's any hostages here or any civilians, we can get pretty lethal. But I don't want to be throwing frags everywhere, mainly because we don't want to accidentally kill the HVI. But slap charges, I don't think kill people on the other side of the doors. I think it just stuns them, so we're pretty good to bring a significant amount of there.
All right. Yeah. Moving on with gear selection. He wants to kind of spread the munitions across the force. Mm-hmm. He, obviously everybody does need a few flashbangs. I think, 2 to 4 or 3, somewhere in that ballpark per guy would be warranted. In regards to the slap charges, yes, they very, very easily could kill somebody if they were close to it. That is a lot of explosive charge, and that has happened. But what you need to keep in mind is, you can game the primary entry and like who's going to be on primary entry, and you might be able to have some imagery and figure out, how it's going to look as you're making your way into the target. But once clearance really starts going down, like there's no way to know who's going to be where. So having more slaps, and they're not very big, they're not very heavy, but having more of those, I think, in the train, it's going to cut down on that delay. And if you have to stop and hold on a door and then have somebody with a charge come find you and then begin that prosecution process of that doorway, that's just going to eat up time. I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, well, I mean, you're looking at this, are we being quiet, or are we just going to announce that we're there, right away? So, that wall charge, I would use it on the initial wall, put a hole in the wall just in case somebody's, expecting somebody to come through that door. Mm-hmm. If we're going to be quiet and come through that door, then maybe, something bolt cutters or something like that. If we're going to stay quiet. But man, even a suppressed AR-15 is not that freaking quiet. Okay, so as soon as you let off one of those, now the cat's out of the bag. Time to go, go quick. So you don't want to, if you're going to bring stuff with you, I would bring concussion grenades. You've got a courtyard there, and you can chuck those things over the wall, and that will take the fight out of anybody that's in the area. Not a lot of frag, just whatever it lands on, but it will rock. It'll rock you, if not kill you, if it lands close enough to you. So you need some concussion grenades there. Yeah, bring that wall breach just in case, but then something else to open that gate, something quiet and something big. So I mean, if you're trying to pick the lock or cut the chain or whatever the hell's, you're going to use there to open it up, that's going to take some time. If you go loud at that point, you need to either be able to hit it with a hammer or put a charge on there and blast that sucker open. And then you want to get into that courtyard as soon as possible, under your cover of your concussion grenades, because those things work. We use them a bunch, and you're not worried about throwing frag around, and you're going to take the fight out of anybody who's initially coming out there.
And you can, set your grenades up like near to far. So the first couple that go off are close to the entry point, and then those next ones that are going off are deeper into the courtyard. That minimal safe distance is achieved, and you can have things going off, farther away from the entry team, but they're still being masked by the terrible mayhem that is grenades going off, which is nice.
Oh, yeah. Otherwise, the flashbangs, everybody's going to carry as many flashbangs as they can, really,
within reason. But,
you're going to have a pouch at least. I mean, well, with again, they start getting heavy these days. The Nikos, the metal-bodied ones, those suckers are heavy, so you can't carry as many. The old 140 ones weighed next to nothing, so you could have a dozen of them in a pouch, and you paid no weight penalty for it. You just couldn't throw them as far, but you didn't have to,
Yeah. All right, guys. So, that's just the first part of the video, or the level, or the mission, or whatever you call it. I'm not 100% sure on the nomenclature, but
we'll call it a mission. What the hell?
But it is a game, and I think maybe he went with 6 instead of 8 because 6 people are easier to handle while playing the game. I haven't really seen the game played too much, but that's probably what he was going for. But again, target this size. If one guy gets hurt, that's 1 or 2 other guys that are going to have to deal with him initially. So now 3 out of your 6 guys are down because one dude took one in the leg. I mean, it goes downhill fast.
Yeah.
Which is the whole point, but for the opposition to be the one going down. You get the picture.
Yeah.
So, a little bit light off oftentimes in movies and television, they condense down tactical teams. Because to tell that story, a character-driven story, it's hard to do with a ton of dudes. So it's kind of a common misconception. But, other than that, I mean, it's a game, and he probably knows a hell of a lot more about what's going to work and not work than we do.
Yeah, he's also not worried about external security, So, you never leave your point of entry just completely, empty. You're not going to abandon that and everybody running around.
He shied away from fragmentation grenades, even having guys have them on them. Like, this is not a hostage rescue. This is a war zone. And I'm assuming there's going to be a whole bunch of willing and able combatants in this target. Definitely bring frag grenades. You can frag a room just as easily as you can crash a room, and it has a far more lasting effect. But you've got to know how to use them. You got to know when not to use them. Of course, they are extremely dangerous, very unforgiving. But to just not have them I would definitely have them.
And he chose Rangers, and Rangers are going to have frag grenades. They always have
as well. They should.
Sure. He must not know any Rangers, even though he's a fanboy, because those guys like their grenades.
All right, so this was part 1, just kind of the loadout setup, talk a little bit about the game and what to expect, and we'll just keep it going from here. So thanks for being here. Torn Coach, out.